Hey everyone, my name is Wendi Cortes, and before you say who cares, let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I decided to make this video. For starters, I'm 27 years old, I'm a single mom. I am very active. Well, at least I think I'm very active. You know, I like to go hiking, I love swimming, you know, I like the outdoors, I work out at home, you know, I'm kind of like that. So I have my 7-year-old boy whom I love, I adore. He's my everything. He's my sky, my moon, my sun. You know, I would do anything for him. I'd give up everything for him. He's amazing. You know, he's only 7, but he's taught me so much. Like, your kids will teach you the most valuable, simple lessons in life, and it's crazy, you know, because they're so little, but they teach you a lot of deep stuff. But anyway, I can talk about him all day. The reason I decided to make this video was because I was recently diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 4, on July 31st, 2015, so about 2 weeks ago. A little bit of background on that. I wasn't feeling, I guess, any symptoms, but the only thing I did have was like persistent cough and like pressure on the lungs, which I thought was congestion, which never in my life have I ever been congested. Like, yeah, I've gotten the flu or stuff like that, but never congested. And the cough started getting really severe, so I started getting back pains. So, you know, I took over-the-counter medicine over the months, and then I went to the doctor who gave me antibiotics and steroids for the congestion and stuff like that, but that didn't do anything. So finally, my mom, on the 27th of July, she took me into the hospital, and they did x-rays on my lungs, and, you know, they told me, you got to be admitted. We found abnormalities in your lungs. So, you know, I was scared because, you know, they didn't know what it was. I thought it was just a cough. And so I was admitted on Monday, and they put me in isolation for about 3 or 4 days because they thought it was tuberculosis, which, you know, obviously turned out it wasn't. And by the 31st, which was a Friday, you know, they told me, like, this is your diagnosis. You have breast cancer. It's aggressive. You know, it's stage 4. For those that don't know, stage 4, it's the last stage, which means, you know, it's not a optimistic diagnosis. They did give me a time frame, you know, and, you know, it is what it is. You know, I was devastated when they told me, you know, because the first thing that popped into my head was my son. Like, we've never been separated since he was born. Like, we're always together. We have lunch dates, movie dates. You know, he comes home from school and I ask him about his day. He tells me, you know, we have conversations like, what does he want to be when he grows up? Which, of course, is, you know, he changes it every now and then. But, you know, he's my everything. I do everything for him. Everything I do is for him. And to find that I have, you know, breast cancer, and at the stage that it is, you know, it broke my heart for him. You know, like, I'm a single mom, like, he's always with me. We have this amazing bond, and when I heard the news, like, he was the only thing I thought about. Like, I can't picture my life without him, or his without me. You know, it was pretty hard news, but what felt an eternity in my head, you know, I managed to snap back to reality. I heard what my oncologist said, and, you know, I accepted my situation. But by no means that means that I gave up. Hell no. You know, I have a 7-year-old boy I have to fight for. I have a great supportive family who have done nothing but love me and do everything they can in their hands to make me feel comfortable, you know. I have a boyfriend who's amazing, so supportive as well. I have amazing friends that I received such abundance of support, and it's crazy. Like, I would never expect, so many people to be impacted, and it's amazing. But like I said, when they told me, I was like, I'm not gonna be angry. I'm not gonna be bitter, sad. I'm not gonna ask why me, because it's useless. Like, why would I, have all that in my head? Why would I not choose to be happy? If I was angry, bitter, or sad, I would not be functioning as a mother. I'm not the type of mother that my son needs. And instead of spending time with my family, with my son, with my loved ones, I would be, spending time feeling sad for myself and all of that. And that's just a waste of time. And time is not something that I have. So, I decided, like, okay, I have breast cancer, stage 4. Now it's time to get up and fight. I put on my big girl pants, like I always do with any challenge. And it was pretty heavy because the diagnosis is pretty hard. But it is what it is. I can't do anything but do my best. And so, like I said, it's been like 2 weeks since my diagnosis. I've already had 3 chemo sessions. By the second chemo session, my nurse said, you're going to notice hair loss. So what did I do? I was like, if you chemo, you're not taking my hair, I'm taking my hair. Because that's just the type of person I am. Like, I know I don't have control over cancer, but, I have control over my life, my actions, my view, my perspective on all of this. So I'm going to rock it like I rock everything else. But, yeah, pretty much that's what happened. In the lapse of 2 weeks, my 3rd chemo session was yesterday, which they upped the dosage, and they said it might be now once every 3 weeks. So that's not too bad. It's better than once every week. And it's been a roller coaster, but I'm staying positive. And I want to show, I guess the reason I really made this is because I want to provide everyone with like a candid candid view of people with cancer and what we go through, and and hopefully I'm able to inspire at least one person not to give up. And no matter what it is, if you don't have cancer, if you feel depressed, if you think your life sucks, which it doesn't, it's just the type of view or perspective we have in life that makes us feel that way. So even if I'm able to inspire one person to keep pushing for whatever it is, I think that's a good thing. And before you go thinking, oh, she made this video for pity or attention or whatever, no. For those of you that know me, know that I'm not that way. I'm very independent, I'm very strong, so that is definitely not what I'm looking for. It's more like a video diary. I'll have some chemo sessions, I have some events that we want to do. Like I said, my boyfriend wants to do a nonprofit organization, to bring awareness, which I'm fully supportive. My sister wants her blog, which I fully support. Like, I'm gonna do as much as I possibly can in the time that I have. And you bet your ass that even though this is an impossible battle, the word itself says, I'm possible. I'm just saying, it sounds cheesy, but whatever. But that's pretty much it. It's about the perspective that you choose to have with this. And I've actually made a friend in one of my chemo sessions. She's a really cool girl. She has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, I believe it is, which is cancer in the blood. And she had like masses all over her body. she's so young, you know, she's younger than I am, so, and she's pretty strong, you know, she's pretty amazing. Like, I just met her once, but I can tell she's pretty amazing. You know, I also have another friend who was diagnosed with stomach cancer, so it's crazy, and he's younger than me too, you know, and, you know, it's, I guess people, you know, like my new friend that I met, and, you know, my friend that I've been having who was diagnosed before me, you know, it's people like them that, you know, give me strength. Like, you can see it, they're strong and they're fighting. So, like, no matter what, like, that's what I'm gonna do every day. And like my sister told me, she's like, we're gonna have really bad days, but, you know, choose to see the good in everything. So, like, I saw hair loss today. So the good thing is, I'm like, shit, I'm hoping that, you know, it's not just in my head. Like, you know, some women struggle with facial hair, you know, I don't want that peach fuzz. You know, some women bleach, some women shave, wax, nair, or whatever, you know what I'm talking about, ladies. You know, I'm thinking like, well, if I'm gonna lose my hair on my head, shit, I better lose everything. You know, plus there's fake lashes. I can go chola status and, you know, sharpie my eyebrows. I'm not gonna sharpie my eyebrows, but, you know, there's still alternatives. You know, that's the kind of outlook that I want to have, or that I do have, or that I've had for a while. So, you know, I'm just gonna, this is another challenge that I gotta take. And I'm not giving up, not for a second. So with that being said, I'm leaving you guys with famous words from Kevin Hart's famous Uncle Richie Jr. You tell cancer I'm looking for him. I want to find him. I'm going to shoot him in the face. Twice. One gun. One bullet. All day. Every day. Take a nap. Go to sleep. so stupid. But, you know, this is it. This is my story. My video diary. You know, if you want to keep updated, feel free to subscribe. If not, it's okay. You know, this is just wanted a candid view of what it is, what this is. So, you know, maybe hopefully bring some awareness. Oh, thank you guys for your time and enjoy your weekend. Bye.